Most companies think they're hiring globally until a compliance violation, tax investigation, or worker misclassification case puts their entire expansion strategy at risk. Hiring employees across borders allows companies to access global talent and expand into new markets. But international hiring also exposes organizations to legal risks that many companies underestimate. Employment laws, tax regulations, and worker classification rules vary significantly between countries. Understanding the most common risks helps companies expand globally while protecting their organization from costly compliance problems. One of the most common legal risks in global hiring is worker misclassification. This is a critical area for any expanding business. This occurs when a worker is treated as an independent contractor, even though the nature of the relationship legally qualifies them as an employee. Governments evaluate factors such as control over the work, exclusivity of the relationship, and economic dependence to determine status. If authorities determine that a contractor should have been classified as an employee, companies may be required to pay retroactive payroll taxes. Beyond taxes, social contributions and significant financial penalties can accumulate, impacting the company's bottom line and reputation. Because classification standards vary between jurisdictions, companies must evaluate contractor relationships carefully in each country. To navigate these complexities, we highly recommend consulting with an international hiring partner, or EOR expert, to ensure full compliance. Another important consideration is permanent establishment risk, which can have significant tax implications for your corporation. Permanent establishment refers to situations where business activities in a foreign country create a taxable corporate presence under local tax laws. If authorities determine that a company is effectively operating within a jurisdiction, the organization may become subject to local corporate taxation. Hiring employees directly, managing local operations, or conducting significant commercial activities can sometimes trigger these complex rules. This is one reason many companies evaluate their international hiring structures carefully before making a move into a new market. Moving on to risk number 3, payroll and tax compliance. This is often the most labor-intensive part of global hiring. Each country establishes its own payroll tax systems and reporting obligations that must be followed strictly and on time. Employers are typically responsible for withholding income taxes, remitting social security contributions, and reporting payroll information to government authorities. Failing to comply with these obligations can lead to financial penalties and intense regulatory scrutiny from local tax authorities. As discussed in earlier videos, global payroll compliance has become more complex as governments introduce digital reporting systems. Real-time payroll monitoring is becoming the standard, requiring businesses to have sophisticated systems or partners in place. Risk number 4 involves employment law violations. These laws vary widely and can be quite surprising to the uninitiated. Regulations often govern termination procedures, mandatory notice periods, employee protections, and statutory benefits like health insurance. Companies unfamiliar with local labor laws may inadvertently violate these regulations when managing international employees. Organizations must ensure employment contracts and HR practices align perfectly with local legal requirements to avoid costly disputes. The 5th risk is one companies often overlook: intellectual property ownership. Protecting your assets is paramount. In some jurisdictions, intellectual property created by employees may automatically belong to the employer, but this isn't always the case. However, contractor relationships may require explicit contractual assignments to ensure the company retains ownership of work produced. Ensuring intellectual property rights are properly documented is particularly important when working with international contractors. Risk number 6 focuses on data protection regulations. In our digital world, employee data is a highly regulated asset. When employees work across borders, companies may transfer personal data between jurisdictions, triggering various legal requirements. Many regions, like the EU with GDPR, have strict laws governing how employee information can be stored, processed, and transferred. Organizations must ensure that their HR systems and payroll platforms comply with all applicable data protection regulations. Finally, risk number 7, regulatory changes. The landscape of global work is shifting faster than ever before. Employment and tax regulations continue to evolve as governments respond to the massive growth of global remote work. New reporting systems, classification tests, and tax enforcement measures are being introduced regularly across the globe. Companies managing international workforces must stay informed about regulatory changes in every jurisdiction where they operate. Staying ahead of these changes is a full-time job. This is where an EOR partner becomes an invaluable asset for your compliance. Global hiring offers tremendous opportunities for companies to access talent worldwide and build truly diverse teams. But managing risks requires a clear understanding of classification, payroll compliance, employment laws, and tax frameworks. Companies that approach international hiring strategically can build global teams while maintaining strong compliance practices. If you want to learn how companies are building teams without borders, subscribe and like our videos to follow the Global Hiring Guide series. If this helped you, please share it to help us bring more quality content to you. See you in our next video. Have a great day.